All right, welcome to episode 4 of the City Skylines Vanilla-ish European City Beginner's Guide. And as the first order of business, we will give this lovely city of ours, which we've been building, a name. That is based on a suggestion from the last video by Andres Peredo. I hope I pronounced that name correctly. And the idea was to give it a very common European name, and I love the idea here that it works in multiple languages, because a lot of cities throughout Europe had these type of namings. So Saint or Sankt or Sun, whatever the name, and then the river name, because this is Riverside right here. And honestly, I am super happy with the name that was suggested in German, because I mean, that is the type of cities that I know best. I don't know enough about Spanish cities to build one. So, you know what? We're just going to go with that suggestion. I love it. So, thank you so much. Now, next, as we can see, we have a huge demand for residential. And I was thinking, around these roads leading out of the city, that is where you would see the largest types of further developments in the Middle Ages outside of the city walls. Like, even back then, they would have suburbs, right? Take that name with a grain of salt, but they would have developments outside of the main city. Now, the largest flat piece of land is this one here, towards the rail line and the national road / highway access. So I'm very tempted to buy this square. Like, how much money do we have? We have 46,000 simoleons, or dollaritos, whatever that currency is called. It's only 5,000. Like, dude, that is super cheap. So we're going to buy this. I'm kind of thinking of doing like an industrial type road and just setting the development here. Now, let's give it a main road. Maybe have an access point here. We don't have office buildings unlocked yet, so I think I'm just going to put a low density commercial building there, just so it looks cool, right? And then from there, the idea is that we could put multiple garbage facilities here. So we're going to put one right there. We can even add like some recycling centers later on. And what we're going to say is empty the existing one. And once we did that, we can move it away and actually place here as well. You know what? Let's do the small commercial. I think it's going to be super cool as like an access point. Okay, let's have it on the right. This is where like the Sims can go and be like, hey, I need to drop some stuff off, or where the trucks will log in and be like, hey, I have a delivery of garbage, so they can get processed there. So it's on the right hand side because we have right hand side traffic. That's going to be the entry point, the office, and then you have the points to drop stuff off. The whole point of this video was to finally get that city expansion going right here. Now, how do we go about this? This is going to be our main road, and usually you would have a few running parallel, and we're still going to keep like that old-timey, a little chaotic looking grid. These roads here get cut from that rail line, and then suddenly you have a type of irregular shaped grid, because a few years, or a few centuries more like, later, you have this rail line completely breaking that grid up. Now let's have a look. For example, I think this would be like a realistic angle, and you'd maybe have like a road going somewhere here. I have an idea. Like, what if we just do a short piece and then it ends here? Maybe put a few trees or like a noise barrier. We have this pedestrian road here. I'm currently thinking, like, where's the train station going to go? They're rather representative buildings, at least back then. So they had like roads directly leading to them on a visual axis to show like, hey, we have the money for a train station. These were important buildings. So I'm kind of thinking like, where would we put the road? I think initially I thought that diagonal in one of my older videos, right? But now that we have this pedestrian shopping mall, let's orient ourselves and see what we can do. I mean, we have the police station right here, the church. This is one of the main roads. I don't want to have even more traffic here. So I'm kind of tempted, like if we make this all commercial, this block right here, and then have this as a main road towards the station. I can't put the tracks at an angle, so I am thinking just doing a straight road like so. I have no idea how large that station would be, but then something like this, right? This is where we have the space for the station. And that is everything we can connect up. This looks really planned, like really straight. Nothing you would see in the Middle Ages, but again, that would come later anyways. And I think it could be cool if we had a very straight grid here and really show the different types of grids existing or coexisting from that medieval period and then the modern age. There we go. A little larger one right here. I think that is kind of cool, to be honest. There's something about this. And then, I don't know, another like irregular shaped grid. Like so, maybe. Now let me think. This would be the old city way out. Like the old medieval expansion. And then this would be... They would pave this over, like completely redo the area, like kind of urban renewal in the 19th century. And continue with these blocks. I kind of like that, to be honest. And then this is the ring road. You know what? Yeah, let's do this. There we go. And then I hope I can pull this off and have these buildings look different. Depending on how many custom assets we will use, this is going to look very distinct from the rest here. We still have people moving in, but we're running out of zoned land, right? So we need more of that. Now, let me see. Honestly, I think we can zone all of this in. And we got to think about where we can put more commercial, because this is a main road. This might have car-focused commercial leading to the national road access here. So this is going to be repair shops, larger scale commercial developments with parking lots. Whereas here, like leading to the train station, that's just going to be, I think, an extension of that shopping street right here. So let's redo our zoning. I want to remove these houses and convert this to commercial. I might, once we do high density, do all of this road here commercial as well on the outside. But the rest, I think, is going to be residential. Now, while that is actually going on, I want to add one feature from the traffic manager mod, just visually, because I think it looks cool. And that is, I want to do realistic parking, which means that the cars will not despawn when parking. Like, a few will park, but not all of them. But I really want to see busy areas having plenty of on-street parking and residential areas maybe being a bit quieter, right? And I think the cool thing then is to really see on main roads that there's no parking, because we want to have the throughput and prevent stop and go from cars constantly having to park. I guess we will need to download some parking lot assets in the future. I think next episode is going to be like a kind of road episode where we upgrade roads and see where could we put bike lanes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, we need to unlock this still. That's why I really try and push residential areas right now. One thing we could do, by the way, to still increase that is like add a playground, right? Because the more parks we have, the more people will move in. And on that side, maybe even have a small park. Do we have like a small one? Oh yeah, we have the larger one on the other side towards the riverside, and I really want to integrate that. But the small one here, this is still like outside the city walls, where previously they would have, you know, an open field just so that archers and cannons would be able to shoot and that kind of stuff. So I think a park here would make sense. And that actually did push the residential demand slightly up. Alright, and our landfill is now empty, which means we can move this to our main landfill site right here. You know what, I think like a layout like this is kind of cool looking. I'm going to turn this off because we don't need two, and that will, you know, be a bit better on our budget. And in the meantime, we're still waiting for the city to grow. And I think you're really starting to see, like, after 3 episodes, that low density zoning, it's just not it. It will take so much time to grow your population. It is just super inefficient concerning space usage, tax dollars, all that stuff. So I'm really happy once we're actually done with this. So let's see if we can continue to fill in the gaps right here. See if there's some space for a few more residential houses. And what that means is we will hopefully get close to the 2,200 people right here, and then can finally build something a little more fun and something a little more interesting than just blocks upon blocks of low density residential. I can do a larger one right here. Ooh, I like that gas station. You know what? We're going to make this historical. That means this building, even if it upgrades, will always stay a gas station. I really like that one. That is perfect for what we're trying to do. There we go, another block filled in. This is good. This is really starting to look nice. Oop. Forgot that this is still the old town. This is all some modern residential. I really don't like the vanilla buildings. It pains me to see them all like rezoned, but you know, the demand is so high. We will for sure see some growth happening right here. Even got some commercial going. Nice. I like that. This is going to be a really busy street. Next episode, the road or like infrastructure episode, I really want to show that specific uses have specific types of roads associated with them, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how that turns out, you know? Oh yeah, I wanted to do all commercial in that block right here. Now that I see the commercial demand pick up a bit, I remember. There we go. Let's remove the 1x1s because these never really look nice. right, and we did it. We finally reached our next milestone, the Boomtown. Let's see what we did unlock. So first of all, a new tile. That's always great in case we need another city expansion, because we're still stuck with low density, right? Maybe if we do some outlying villages, that might come in handy. Next, what do we got? We finally have buses. Some rural bus lines connecting very sparsely populated regions with very bad and slow service, but at least it is connected. That's going to be interesting. Taxis, because why not? We finally got our post service. Very, very important for every small town, at least to my mind. Or I think we're going to do that later on. We got some new policies. I think we could play around with these a bit, for sure. Lots of highway stuff, which I'm not interested in. We're doing rural European cities here, so no highway yet. That is the whole premise of this playthrough, after all. Tram, not applicable yet. Berries. What else do we got? We got a cemetery. Oh, that's going to be interesting. Right, the depots. That is clear. We got the post office, small warehouse for our industrial area. Right, that looks awesome. Let's place these services. First of all, before the city already collapses, we all know the dreaded death waves. Though, keep in mind with that slow zoning that we do, we won't have any of these like mass movements and then mass deaths. But we're still going to put down the cemetery first. Now, usually, there would be a small one next to the church. We don't have a small one in game, so we have that larger one. And, dead bodies are a source of illnesses, and people in the Middle Ages and even earlier, they knew that. So, usually burial sites would be slightly outwards of the city. Now, again, keep in mind, we have that ring road, which was the city fortification. And you don't want to have your cemetery inside the city, so where would you put it? Well, outside of that, right? Now, let's think. This is next to water, and you don't want to have it where the flooding happens, right? So this would be a more recent development and not something from like the main medieval city. So I'd say, why not just put it here, a little further away from the water, but still close to the city walls. Maybe on like one of the roads leading outside. I mean, we did block that off accidentally. I don't know, maybe there was like another road leading out here. Let's see. If we have our church here, diagonal road, shortest pathways possible. Yeah, I think that might be like one of the directions going further. I want to mark that down, just the general direction with a dirt road, just so we know what our idea was. And then we're going to place that cemetery right here, which means one of our new services is in town. Nice. What else do we got? We got the post office. We want to have this dead center in the city. So at the main square, where do we have, like, here's commercial. You know what? Let's remove these houses and see if we can put a post office down here. Barely fits. That could work. There we go. Nice. We got ourselves a post office as well. Ooh, that city's going to look so lovely and bustling for sure. Post vans driving around, police cars, people shopping in the streets. I'm so looking forward to like European high density buildings. Dude, that's going to upgrade this so much more and really elevate the looks of everything. Now, let's go with like the transit things here. Next to this industrial area, that's like one of the locations where you would often see a taxi depot, like not too far away from the city, but at the same time, I mean, they're quite noisy and undesirable in residential areas, and this would be like one of the older industrial areas, so I think that would fit right in here, that taxi depot. Now, on the other hand, that bus depot, so there's two ideas I had. in this small town where I'm from, like 40,000 people, not that much of a small town, but like still small town-ish, that bus depot would be at the back of the train station. So if we put the train station right here, as we said, there would be like a small industrial cargo station as well. And then because it's noisy, they'd put the bus depot there as well. Or because this looks like relatively modern, we could say, we have that industrial development here next to the highway. That is where we could reasonably put a bus depot as well. I kind of think I'm going to put it here just because it kind of looks cool as like a larger industrial building, right? I can kind of see that happening. And, put some warehouses down, some larger scale industries later on with the industries DLC, maybe a development on this side so we can really show like, hey, there's a reason for this relatively large highway/national road interchange here, because why would you not just put a crossing here, but rather that interchange? Because, well, there's a modern industrial development. I think that's rather reasonable and will lead to some very interesting roadworks in the future where, we need bigger turn lanes, larger volumes of trucks going. I think that could be kind of cool. Like, how about we make this a big main intersection here? And one thing I learned, like, I would have dragged this like so because the direction makes sense, but what I've seen is, like, imagine how steep that angle would be. So I've seen people do something like this instead, where they would first do a very straight stretch and then later on connect it up. Okay, the angle is stupid. I should have done it the other way around. But yeah, you get the gist. It's basically, to keep clear lines of sight and have that intersection be safe. And then, you know what? Yeah, that's okay. That's cool. And then later on, we can still connect it to other areas here. We have that ring road design, which I kind of like. So there's definitely room for expansion. And that is definitely going to be like a larger industrial development. You see these a lot. I'm going to put a picture here of these type of developments, even in like more rural or less dense areas. So let's put our bus depot here. And what that means is once we actually do smaller villages, we can connect them up with buses. And I hate that, like the parked cars on that national road. I'm looking forward to the next episode, the infrastructure episode, and then we're going to fix all that. And I'm taking great inspiration here as well from Will CS, who does a rural Germany playthrough, and after a while uploaded a new episode finally, which features more agricultural developments, which I think was super fitting. So make sure to check that out as well. I've linked that in the description. And lastly, I've been hinting a lot at infrastructure in the next episode. Make sure to check out this video linked on the left here about how traffic lights as a part of infrastructure work in City Skylines. Thanks for watching.